fiends. Who is all here? There is about 100 people. It's wild. It's already popping. As per usual, we're getting situated. This is our usual jam. Let me show you the decorations. Oh. Oh, this pillow makes sounds. Okay. All right. So that's fun.
I hear music.
The pillow makes sounds.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that when I bought it.
Oh.
Yeah, my kid
Delightful.
noticed it, and I was like, oh no.
Here's some of Holly's decorations.
Yeah, I didn't want it to make any sounds. Did I leave my glasses in here?
No. You did. You had them. I don't know what you did with them. I'm gonna move that just in case I start that.
Would you like a side table for drinks?
No, I'm okay.
I'm gonna grab one for my stuff and for that when we're done. So that we get. Is anybody in there yet?
That says 2 people. I think I'm one.
I was gonna say, are you one of them?
I'm one.
Great.
Who else is here?
Mm.
Let us know.
Speak your name.
Do you have your pizza for the Satanic
Pizza Friday?
Yes, Satanic Pizza Friday. Yes. Have mine. No dipper. There's the smallest dog trying to get the pizzas. So we have this hat here. It has a bunch of ghost stories in it. We're going to pick a story and then we're going to read it. And I'm a little nervous because I don't know, it's Old English. So that'll be fun to read with some whiskey in me. It'll be a delight.
Curious.
Right. If anybody that listens is having trouble with like commenting, I think you have to create like you have to sign in and subscribe to us, and then you can.
That's how we
comment.
get ya.
Yeah.
There you go.
And you could just use like your Google email just to get a YouTube.
Yeah.
Fun.
She's here.
She's here and she's great.
I'm really upset that we don't have John to sing carols with this year.
I know. John, where are you?
We decided like 3 hours ago that we were doing this. So.
And it shows.
Although, you know what? I'm pretty excited about it. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be super fun, honestly. I want my black glasses really bad, but I can't find them anywhere.
Right there.
No,
No.
those are my other ones that I brought in my backups. Because I had the black ones in my hand.
Did Dipper take them underneath the couch?
I mean, that's always a possibility with everything in my house.
All right.
Text Will and see if I brought them upstairs.
Okay. All right.
While we wait for a few friends to gather.
Yes.
And we'll explain what we're doing on this weird live situation, because it's not normal.
It is not.
So what is? Hi, Dip. Hi, Dip.
Bring him up
Do you
here.
want to come in and see the people? He's learning. He's learning how to pod dog. Oh no, there's a lot of glare going on with glasses, so I may not wear them.
It doesn't take you to YouTube. Where does it take you?
Where do you go?
Did I share the wrong link?
I hope not.
Es no bueno.
Mm-mm. That's not French.
That's not. No.
Mm-mm.
No.
That's on your nose.
I don't know.
Satanic pizza. I think it's
Probably.
satanic pizza.
Oh, I was used to doing that. Hold on.
Hi.
Edit. Public. Save. I fixed it.
That was a good job. You did. I like
My
it.
bad. We're used to doing all the Patreon content as
Mhm.
unlisted so that only patrons can get it.
Oh, she's
And
scooching, huh?
yeah. Whoops. Do I need to move over more? Would that
Maybe
be
a little.
helpful?
And then I'll move the Mari light a little bit.
All right.
So we can see her. Oh, she's so
Oh
drunk.
God. Oh
Oh,
God.
her eyes falling out.
Okay. The links should be good for everybody now, but thank you for letting me know that.
Dippy wants to eat your satanic pizza. That's why he's a little wild.
You can't eat it. It's too big for you.
This is as big as he got, you guys.
That's it.
That's it. This is all we're getting from Dip. He's very little. And sometimes, and sometimes he's shy. He's like a little gremlin. He hides under things and steals things, and it's fun.
Mhm.
So, for our live tonight, Leslie has a hat with the names of all of the stories except for the 20-page ones in this book, which is Victorian Christmas Ghost Stories. And we will draw from the hat, and then we will read what we draw. We've never read them before. So, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. We're drinking bourbon, so it's going to get more interesting. Dip says bye. He did his duty. You did a good job, Dippy. He'll be back. So it'll get more interesting as we roll along. But tonight is our Scary Ghost Stories episode in keeping with tradition that we do every year. And you'll be able to get our full Scary Ghost Stories on Christmas Eve like we do every year. So we'll have maybe these, maybe other ones.
Maybe more.
It really depends on how it goes.
Tonight we are drinking
Old fashions?
Maker's Mark whiskey. Bourbon? Whiskey?
It's bourbon.
It's bourbon.
Maker's Mark, looks out cherry. It's low water. We don't usually have bitters.
Yeah. I was trying to get this in here, but did we want to lean this down so we're not like trying to like be so tall?
I know. If this was a little lower.
I know, but then I don't think I would have gotten that stuff unless we want to try this table.
Then we'll be cut off like up here.
And nobody wants to see us from this angle.
No, they don't. Nope. Least of all me. I really want to wear my glasses, but I keep thinking I'm going to...
Oh, no. Take them off.
It's no good. Yeah, well.
Belgian beer. Who is Mr. Yappy Pie? I like that name.
Mr. Yappy Pie, who are you?
Who are
we
you?
like your name. Tell us your real name.
But you don't have
Tell
to.
us your government name.
You don't have to if you don't want
You
to.
have to. Or else.
Then we lose it. Then we lose the listener. And we're out.
Sorry.
Oops.
Yeah. You're all in my house right now, so.
Well, cheers to you guys so far.
Cheers.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
And cheers to you. Mr. Yappy Pie doesn't want to tell us.
He doesn't have to, Holly.
Yes, he does, Leslie.
He doesn't have to. Who likes my hand?
Everybody likes you.
There we go. I forgot that the camera was there. Is that too much? Or is that too much?
Oh man, I didn't realize I'd signed into this name.
Oh.
Is this your secret YouTube account?
Do you have another? Oh my.
Is this like your Finsta? Are you a kid?
I can't wait to find out who it is now.
I know.
Be like Andrew.
Mr. Yappa Pie. Blew you right up.
Oh yeah. Ashley, how are you tonight? Tell me everything. Tell me everything that's going on.
Ashley.
Want to hear it all.
How are you?
Listen, girl.
Okay. Guess we should. What, Dippy? Dippy's eating his little chewy. He's only got a little bit of that one left.
Oh, Chris. Hey, Chris. Chris. That's really funny. That's a really funny name.
Well, you have your professional name. Well, we all know it. Okay.
All right. So,
Ashley, we just moved into our house, still getting ready for the Christmas Eve party. I did the same thing last year. I moved into this house on December 19th, and then I had our whole family here for Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Because I'm a crazy person.
Yeah. Yeah, you are.
But I feel better because Ashley is too.
Yeah.
It's not the 19th, though. You're doing like mildly better than I did.
Oh my God.
That was wild. All my stuff was in boxes. I just cried for a long time.
How late can you guys hang out for? You're going to be able to hear all these stories? We got a lot.
We're not telling all of them. We're just picking.
We'd be here for hours.
We would be here until like next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we could just go. It
Okay.
doesn't matter. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Yes. You're like staring into this hat like the void. I'm going to get one of the wolf ones that I didn't want to read. I know it. Oh, no. The Ghostly Christmas Gift. All right. Let's find it, shall we?
We shall.
We shall. Oh, and this can be on our Amazon.
Yeah, like our little Amazon find
Yeah.
thingy majigger that.
What is it called? Something links?
Affiliate.
Yes, it can be on our Amazon affiliate links because you can buy this on Amazon. That's where I bought it. I'd like to get the other 3 in the set. If you have them, tell me which one's the best. Okay.
Cool.
I'm a new dad, so I'll fall asleep by 11, but I'm down for some historic ghost stories. Awesome! You'll be able to catch a bunch of it. We are not going all night. So, all right, let me find. What did I
Anybody
pick?
else have their pizza?
The Ghostly Christmas Gift. It is Satanic Pizza Friday, we decided. What's today's date?
The 16th.
Okay, so like the 3rd Friday in December or whatever, that's Satanic Pizza Friday forever because we made it that.
Every Friday?
I mean, it can be. Every Friday can be Pizza Friday.
Mm-hmm.
But Satanic Pizza Friday is a special December holiday
Okay.
that I made up
On the 3rd?
on the 3rd Friday, maybe.
Okay.
Leslie's really invested, but upset that she doesn't get pizza every Friday. So tell her it's okay. Okay. The Ghostly Christmas Gift. Let me find it. I should have written the pages down, huh? I didn't.
It's on page 109.
How'd you do that so fast? Oh boy, Leslie.
I'm really good at crosswords and word searches.
Is that what that was?
Not crosswords, but word searches.
Okay. The Ghostly Christmas Gift by F.H. Brunel. A story of this land and that. So a little bit about Frank H. Brunel, because this book is kind enough to give us a little author info as well. 1852 to 1933, was the founder of the groundbreaking horse racing newspaper, The Daily Racing Form, a sports writer and secretary of an early baseball players' union and league. He sounds like he's going to have a very weird, fun accent. This story appeared in a paper for which he also had served as sports editor, the Cleveland Plain Dealer, of December 25th, 1887, and delivers on its narrator's belief that ghosts should not be commonplace.
Oh.
Not
Okay.
commonplace.
Okay.
Ghosts.
Where should they be?
Rare place. So, away we go. Some tales are best not told. Until today, with an assignment to contribute to the Christmas Plain Dealer staring me very hard in the face, I held this idea of the story that I am going to tell. But in sketching the past, real and imaginative, for an incident out of which a tale and my task could be accomplished, I hit on this, the strangest story that I have ever heard connected with mortal man. That's a big statement.
Yeah.
It didn't happen to me, for which I am glad. But I knew the man whose life was wound in with its weird incidents, whose soul was warped by the mysterious visitations taken, as he firmly believed, as penance for a revengeful act, and whose death was dramatic to a degree of mysterious atrocity. This is a big setup. It is perhaps one of the oddities of literature in its connection with humanity that Christmas is essentially a season of ghosts. And it has always seemed an oddity to me that there should be such a lack of oddity about the typical ghost.
Okay.
If that is the right term, and a ghost can be typical. There doesn't seem to be any particular reason why ghosts should be so commonplace. Very few of the literary and reminiscent specters with which I have been acquainted, I am glad that the connection has been no closer, have been dull, thin, and melancholy wraiths, without light or mellowness, and certainly lacking anything that could be galvanized and called humor. Wraiths!
I love those.
You love a wraith.
I do.
Perfect.
They're so helpful.
There have been fat ghosts and jolly ghosts, if there have been any ghosts at all, and some shades or lights. There is no reason why a spirit should be labeled as a shade that have returned their earthly smiles. So he's trying to say, like, some ghosts are going to be nice and normal. They're not all going to be spooky, scary ghosts. Okay, I could get behind that.
Okay.
Yeah, not everybody is a spooky, scary person.
No.
At least there should be if there are not, and considering the fact, which is unquestioned if we admit the other fact of ghostly existence, that ghosts stay out late a night and are light of foot, jollity and variety must lurk within their airy breasts. If ever I run against a spirit and am not too startled to use my faculties, I shall, for the good of literature and verbal tales of the future, draw it out, note the peculiarity of the spectral mind, and peer through its conversation for a piece of fancy or flash of humor. But perhaps it will be as well for a literary illusionist, and to the man or woman of imagination all is possible. To paint or pen a ghostly hood or spectral heart better than the natural acquaintance with such a ghost would serve to establish in its records. So this is when they paid people a penny a word.
Yeah.
So more words means more money. Just like if you read Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens is like, Marley was dead. Dead that Marley was. Dead as a doornail. Did I mention Marley was dead? He was very, very dead. Because every single one of those words was a penny.
It's so rough.
Isn't it?
It
They
doesn't.
really stretched it though.
It's interesting to me though because it doesn't make sense. Like you would think that there would still be an editor being like unnecessary. We're trying to like save money.
Nope.
That's so strange.
No, the more words, the merrier. For people back then, they just wanted word counts. And you looked really smart if you use lots of big ones. That's why this guy is using like 100 weird adjectives, and there's like nothing. There's no reason. Anyway, there's your history lesson for the moment.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And this notion seems most eyeable, not really a word, when I consider the power of such creation and the possible weakness of the actual creation. After all, both would be airy, and neither could be put under the set and austere eye of the microscope or dissected by the logical and exposing examination of your materialistic investigator. And at the present stage of the human game of fanciful pretty is of more account than a home fact. That's the same sentence 18 times that he just said. Ghosts are not all spooky dementors. They could be normal people. That's what he spent that whole paragraph saying. But this is not telling my story. No, it is not. Having never seen a spirit myself and holding no energetic desire to see one, I can but say that I believe the story that John Fleming told me because I believed in John Fleming. Faults he had, what man has not? But he was built on very fine mental and physical lines. And if I am deceived, it was only because he was too the victim of a morbid fever that crippled his life away. And because, I know, that was a spooky one. And because there were unmistakable evidences, to me, of the influences that wrought his ruin, we are entirely different. My life had been in the town, where civilization asserts itself and claims supremacy. Of course, such a habitation forces itself into the humanity it holds and surrounds. But John had been a wanderer from his youth, had seen the four corners of the world and profited by what he had seen. I had known him as a young man when my school days were beginning. Later, as the brawny and bronzed lion of our small town, when I was on the brink of college, and he was resting restlessly between jaunts to the end of the world. In his youth, Fleming had been a little wild. Okay.
How wild.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Fleming.
Yeah.
And the stories connected with him had made him the bane of his mothers of the beauties of the town. A bane of the mothers of the beauties of the town. So
Yes.
he was
Ooh, I like that.
the
bane of the mothers of the beauty of the town.
Yeah. So he was a ladies' man.
Okay.
So mothers were like, oh
okay.
shit, Fleming is coming to town. He's gonna fuck my child.
Yes, and maybe me.
And maybe also me. Yes.
Hide my daughter so I have a chance.
So he's the bane of the mothers of the beauties of the town and the idol of their daughters. But as far as M. Dash was concerned, we have a mysterious person entering the chat. Nothing was seen of Fleming's wildness. I started for college and John for Liverpool via New York on the same day. And he shook hands with me most heartily as father and I left the train when our station was reached. Most heartily. Very good. Promising to hunt me up when he came back. If I ever do, he said, with a ringing laugh, which he may never come back. Oh, I don't think he does. Ooh. I finished my college work and began the more serious business that followed, but didn't see John Fleming again for 10 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a whole decade.
I know. Long time for Fleming to be fucking and fighting or whatever he's doing.
Yes.
One fall evening, as I sat at my desk, hard at work, a tall and spare man with bronzed and lined face and thick... Oh, dip. He tried to jump on the couch and missed. Sorry. And thick black hair, mustache, and beard, in which the gray was coming fast, strode into my room and holding out his hand said, "How are you, my boy?" I should have known the eyes if I had not seen them, and the voice had I not heard it in 50 years. It was John Fleming, but a different John Fleming from the athletic man I had left at the little railroad station in New York 10 years before.
I think this guy has a crush on John Fleming himself.
I think he does. We shook hands heartily. He telling me, very good, telling me how he had come from M to see me when he found out where I was from mother. He inquired about my life and plans and let me finish my work. I having agreed to dine and talk over old and new times the next day. So they're going to catch up. He and John Fleming.
Yes.
We love John Fleming. So, when he had gone to his hotel, I could not help thinking, to the great damage of my copy for the next day's paper, how much John Fleming had changed and aged and thinned. I think he's disappointed. These thoughts were renewed to the damage of my sleep when I reached home. The man seemed well, but there was a settled look of melancholy in his eyes and a corresponding ring in his voice that made me wonder more than I wondered over anything within my recollection. What had changed John Fleming? I don't know. But I slept the question into submission. Rose at noon. Oh, he slept in. Rose at noon.
Okay.
And hurried to John Fleming's hotel for dinner, thinking perhaps that I should find him more cheerful of eye and voice than that continued travel might have temporarily depressed him. So it's like, maybe he's tired from his trip. He was gone for 10 years.
That's a long trip.
Maybe he needs a nap.
Yeah, I mean, when you come back from a vacation, you need another vacation.
Especially, yes.
But 10 years?
Especially if you're jet lagged. He was in, like, England, I thought he said. So there was a time difference to deal with. Like,
yeah,
he's tired. But the man I met had the same melancholy aspect because, like 12 hours didn't fix it. And his manner sank deeper into me as I talked with him before dinner. There was, evidently, a pall of some kind on John Fleming. We lingered over dessert and the old days and characters at M-. As we left the table, John said, "Finish your work and come up tonight."
Do you think they're talking about Miskatonic? Miskatonic
Who that is?
University?
I don't, maybe.
Is it a person or a place?
I think it's a place. M-.
Okay. I'm going to say it's Miskatonic.
That's where it is.
And all my Lovecraftian friends can know what I'm talking about.
There you go. Perfect. I told him that I couldn't get away from the office until midnight. "No matter," he said. "Come then. I shall be up." Jet lagged, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it happens.
I ground out the usual amount of copy and left the office at 11:30, going straight to Fleming's room. He was up and writing as though supplying the insatiable genius of the daily necromancer, always hungry for copy. Maybe this is the university. Yeah. As I entered, he threw down his pen and said, "My dear fellow, I'm glad you are here. That star had nearly frozen me to desperation," pointing to a peculiarly bright and twinkling star that shone through the window as if asking for admission. And as I looked at the star, I was struck with the fact that it alone illuminated space. Not another ray or spot of light stood out in the dark sky, and the star was very near, very bright, and very nervous. But for the melancholy in John Fleming's voice, I should have been inclined to laugh at its peculiar appearance. There was humor in it and in me, but mine was checked by the interest and curiosity I felt in John Fleming's depression. But the star compelled attention, and after 15 minutes silent smoking and eye fencing with it, I acknowledged its strange attraction and slashed the curtain between it and my eyes. "I should be glad if you could shut that cursed thing out," said Fleming as the curtain fell down, wondering at such a remark. I glanced at the window covering and started as I saw the jagged edges of the star in the deep red outline in the curtain's center. If this shit is aliens, I will lose my mind.
I don't know. Do you think they wrote about aliens then?
I don't really think so, but I don't know. And this is like crazy. As I started, John said with more intensity than I had ever associated with his voice, "Ah, you see to it. That kills the hallucination theory and proves your interest in me." So I guess John Fleming thought he was hallucinating that star. All this was puzzling to me, and my blood ran colder than was its wont. The star and Fleming, oh, thank you, were evidently old acquaintances, and the peculiar outline on the curtain and the stillness of the room affected me more than anything ever had affected me up to that time. These are big statements. Like, this is the worst. At last, Fleming, who had been smoking viciously at a big, strong cigar, very good, and blowing huge clouds at the star's outline, huge clouds, as though to cloud it out of view. So he's trying to like blow smoke at it so he can't see it anymore. Good job. I feel better about it. I don't see it anymore.
Oh wait, it's a stogie though, right?
Yeah. Perfect. That cursed thing. And so it affects you too? I said that it did, and peculiarly. But not guiltily, said John. I started. Guiltily?
Peculiarly?
Yes. No. Was it the shadow or symbol of a crime? And if so, who was the victim? Surely not John Fleming.
No.
Couldn't be. And I pondered in silence with the desire, but without the energy to ask the question. And the star twinkled malevolently on. It's good twinkling.
Thank you.
I had become sure by this time that in its twinkling there was spite. This star is freaking them out. Okay. I lost my... There you go. Because of a constant and jerky movement, human spite and malevolence is so thrown out. And it has always been my experience to find them more energetic than any kind of attribute. My ruminations were cut short by John Fleming's sharp question. You do not see the face? What face? I asked him.
Oh, I hate this.
Yep, scary. All right, scary ghost story. He gave no answer, but the star's outline danced diabolically. At last, Satanic Pizza Friday over there. At last, Fleming roused himself, and with a defiant glance and a shake of his fist at the outline on the curtain, and before which menace the outline seemed to wobble and fade, said, I may as well tell you the story of my life, and of that devilish star, and the more devilish face behind it. Could you see the face? It would aid in substantiating my story. But you know me well enough to know that I will tell you the truth. Besides this, men make confessions to ease their souls, or minds, or what you will. And there is no ease in adding to the weight we carry. I have carried my weight for 9 years, and for the life I took at that time, my own is gradually going out.
Oh.
John Fleming murdered somebody.
He killed someone.
Oh shit, that gave me goosebumps.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Fleming, who was it?
I
You
don't
bad boy.
Let's find out. I shivered, so this guy's shivering too. As Fleming said this, he laid his hand upon my arm and continued. Hear me out. My act was heady and full of revenge, but no assassination. It had men's approval, but never my own. You know how I have wandered all my life, and remember the day, now 10 years ago, that I shook hands with you and your father at New York. I guess we're like blotting out locations because this is supposedly a true story. I went straight to New York, from thence to Liverpool, and sailed from that town without a week's delay for Melbourne, Victoria. So now he's in Australia. A party of us was to organize and equip an expedition for the Western Australian pearl fishing grounds, with headquarters at Perth at the head of the Swan River. The expedition started with 4 vessels and 10 of us sharing in them, crews, divers, and apparatus. But a storm knocked all us to pieces before we routed to Pont de... Okay, Frenchie, what does that say?
Pont de
Entrecasteaux?
Yeah.
Okay. And of the 10 bosses and 40 sailors and divers, but 6 and 18 reached what is now Albany. 6 and 18! Why would you measure it like that? Anyway, the rest went down with the fishing boats. By a lucky grab, I had managed to save one of the partners from drowning. I had never seen him until he joined us at Melbourne and told me that his name was George Wilson. He was a Californian, strong, alert, and evidently a man who had seen and acted a great deal.
California.
All right.
Yes.
George. I took to the man after grabbing him from the hungry Southern Pacific, and he seemed to take to me. The sailors soon found work on the upgoing pearl fishing boats, fortunate enough to have escaped the gale, and 4 of the partners decided to go up and renew their fortunes at the Pearl Oyster Banks. For myself, I had enough of pearls, and so I found Head Wilson. Enough of all these pearls! At least he asked me to join him and return to America. He showed me charts of a strip of country in South America where there was gold enough, he said, to make a score of men as rich as Monte Cristo. Mm-hmm. Would I go? Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously.
For sure.
I'm going.
With George? Yes.
Yes, George. Let's go get some gold. If I continued to think as well of the trip as I did then. But why hadn't he gone before? He said that he had only had the chart a month. It had been given to him by an American miner who had died of Queensland fever in a Sydney hospital.
A small child?
Queensland fever? I think so. Oh, I get it. And after he had invested all of his money in the pearl fishing expedition, it would take 500 pounds to equip and put us on the Colombian ground, which is where the gold was. I had the money. Okay, Fleming.
Yeah.
He had the money.
Good looking and rich.
500 pounds at the ready in the late 1800s. You are very wealthy.
Yeah.
So, I'll get my act together. I had the money, was satisfied with the explanation, and we hurried to Sydney and took the first Pacific steamer for San Francisco. We landed there in June, and after 9 days spent in fitting ourselves out, I supplying the cash, we took a trading steamer for Buenaventura, United States of Colombia. And after a week's lounging and outfitting, started anew and over the Andes. So wait, they were lounging and outfitting for a week in South America. They are dating.
It.
Yeah.
That's 100%
Yeah,
what's happening.
They're having adventure dates.
I love this for them.
I love this for them too. I mean, this sounds like
this is what we need.
It is. It is. Indeed.
A whole decade of
adventure
lounging,
yeah,
outfitting.
Every time we're just like hanging out and be like, we're lounging and outfitting. Leave us be. That's great. I love that. Okay, so then they started anew.
We've had enough of pearls.
Enough pearls. Time to lounge and outfit, and now we're going to head over the Andes. Time to climb a mountain. Choosing the fertile passes for a route to Santa Fe de Bogota. Another rest and another star southeasterly, and then over to Llanos de San Juan, and across the river into the strip of land 500 miles long and 300 miles wide, southeast of the Colombian and northwest of the Brazilian line.
Penny a word.
Here's my longitude and latitude. We don't need it. It's fine. You could just tell us you're in Colombia. Then claimed by both countries and given over to the desperados of each, or those of any land that chose to wander so far from civilization. We met plenty of hunters of gold, such as we were, on the road, and had to watch our riding and pack mules very closely. 20 days out from Bogota, we began to consult with Wilson's chart and found ourselves within a few miles of our gold ground. We found the valley and old riverbed that were set down as our chief guides about the time that we ran across as motley a group of prospectors as was ever gathered. A motley group of prospectors.
My.
Oh. There was half a score in the party, and it was led by a Chilean desperado. Okay.
There's so many people in this.
I know.
This is wild.
Such men in such callings are rare in South America. Racist. The fellow, Juan Comigo, as he was called, demanded that we join his band and tell our businesses. Wilson was nervously furious and, had I not held him in, would have made a fighting dash for it. Well, Wilson's feisty. But I explained to the brigand that we were engineers employed by the Colombian government to make maps and of the debatable ground for diplomatic use. Assured him that we had no taste for a life on the plains with its horse and cattle stealing forays, much as it might be to our interest to join the band of such a genius as Juan Comigo.
But we like to lounge and outfit.
Yes, we're lounging and outfitting. He was sinister, but let us go unwillingly. An hour out, we found that spies were on our tracks, and they dogged us for 5 days, during which I made hundreds of imaginary calculations in my voluminous notebook, used a large compass and line for alleged measurements, all the while pretending not to see the spies and ordering Wilson not to notice them, so they're pretending to be engineers by drawing lines and writing numbers.
My goodness.
That meant nothing.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Are we back in time getting to the part where Fleming kills someone? Okay. Just making sure.
He's telling a story.
Okay.
At the end of the 4th day, Comigo's dogs withdrew. At the end of the 5th, we stopped our mummery, and after riding 10 leagues... Stop all this mummery!
They are not Philadelphia.
No, they're not! Also racist. After riding 10 leagues as fast as our animals would carry us, found a cave and lay in hiding for a week.
Oh, man. A whole week in a cave?
They spent a week in a cave?
Lounging it out.
Right, but like, did they have a picnic basket or something?
They 100% did. They're like, boy,
where's our charcuterie? Bring me wine. This isn't so bad. Then we cautiously retraced our steps and were soon within the marks of our chart, with Comigo and his coyotes away. Why are they coyotes now? They were dogs a minute ago. 3 days later, in the partially concealed depression of the valley, evidently an old steam bed, we found enough gold in nuggets to found a monarchy or corrupt the world. So they meant a lot of gold. It was pure metal in rugged and particularly shining lumps, from an ounce to several pounds in weight. Wow. Yeah. In 2 days, we had divided the necessities in our pack mule's burden between us, cashed the rest, and loaded the spare animal and our own with between 400 and 500 pounds of the yellow nuggets most exposed to view. That is a lot of gold.
Yeah, I'm glad they changed it to golden nugget. That sounds way better than yellow nugget. It's just like
yellow nuggets,
like hard mustard.
Yellow snow.
Yeah.
No good. On the night of December 24th, we were within 3 days' ride of Bogota and in a wild and arid plain. Hi, Dibby. It was Wilson's turn to guard and mine to sleep. At midnight, I was wakened by a shrill neigh. I glanced toward the fire and saw a pack mule saddled, and Wilson in the act of mounting his own riding animal, and with the bridle of my own in his hand. He's stealing everything! Oh, Wilson's stealing it all!
Wilson!
I know!
That's Wilson!
Yes, George Wilson! He's stealing all the gold
Wilson.
and the animals! Dippy got really into that for a minute. In a second, I saw that he was about to desert me with the gold, and seizing my rifle, I drew a bead on him and shot him through the back as he prepared to jump into the saddle. He never spoke a word or moved a muscle after I reached him. The shot was a killing one.
Oh, man.
Fucking shot George Wilson.
I mean,
he was
he
doing
had to.
everything. I know.
You had to stop with the man.
He really did. Upon the blanket in which I was rolled, I found a note which jeeringly bade me goodbye and told me that I had served his purpose well. Oh, so he wrote him a note that was like, bye, thanks for everything. See ya.
Now I'm just imagining him rolled in the blanket. Just like
Burritoed up in
yeah.
the blanket, yeah.
Roll out.
I buried him in the valley, divided the load of gold between the 2 mules, and pushed on to Bogota and thence to Buenaventura.
Yeah.
At the latter place, I boxed the gold and shipped it with myself to San Francisco, where I turned it into cash. It yielded $18,000.
Nice. That's amazing.
Yeah. Wow. So much for the story of my relations with Wilson and the manner of his death. He richly deserved what he got, though I would rather have lost my own life in the Colombian plains than taken his. But I shot him on the impulse of the moment. The $18,000 grew and multiplied in California, and I am rich. That does not interest you. The strange part of my story remains to be told. Since the day I killed Wilson, his spirit and its symbol, that devilish star. And as he spoke, the star leaped as if in laughter and grew redder. Has attended me. It has come between me and those I loved and is ever present. I have never rested in its baneful presence, and each Christmas day I find upon my table a lump of gold in the form of a star, in which Wilson's features are impressed. See them? So I guess he's like, here it is. And John Fleming went to a cabinet and took from a case therein 9 shining and rough pieces of gold, each in the form of a star, and each with the features of a man sunken into them. I know, gross. Each of the 9 was an exact duplicate of the other. I could not resist a shudder as I saw them, and a strange thrill or concussion, as from a current of electricity, passed through me as I lifted one from the drawer. And the shadow of the symbolic star leaped and laughed on the curtain as though in malice at my terror. John Fleming buried his face in his hands and raised it as I put my hand on his shoulder and said that he was the victim of a trick. Oh, I don't think so. Oh, no. You do not see that horrible face beyond, he said with a shudder. It is not for others' eyes than mine. The star is visible, the face is not. I ran to the window and dashed up the curtain. There hung the star in the dark sky, yet out of it, and it was the only light on the sky's front. It danced at me and threw its bloody glare upon the wall, but no face was visible. I drew the curtain down again, preferring the shadow to the star itself. I was impressed against my will as to its supernatural origin, but turned up the lamps and called for more lights so as to drown it out. The servant saw nothing, and Fleming told me that only those he loved ever saw the star. Oh, and none but himself the face. So the reason he could see the star is because John Fleming loves him.
Oh, okay.
I know. I bade him good night and went home to think, but not to sleep. I had hardly got to bed when I was summoned by a message from P-, the night clerk at Fleming's hotel. Something was wrong with Mr. Fleming. I hurried on with my clothes and ran to the hotel and upstairs to John Fleming's room. He sat at the table where I had left him, dead. In his hands was a pistol, and through his temple a bullet. The star's reflection still danced on the curtain, and its origin was still shining bloodily in front of the sky. I seemed to see the thin outline of a receding face also as I lifted the curtain, but do not know whether it was the recollection of the visage on the gold stars still hanging on me. And then the star faded out, and from that day to this, I have never seen it. On the table before which all that was left of John Fleming sat were 2 letters. One was addressed to me. It charged me to see that his belongings went to his sister, and that $18,000 was paid to the local hospitals. He left me his watch and ring and the 9 golden stars. I went to the cabinet to see them. Their case was there, but they had gone. The ghostly Christmas gifts from the malevolent spirit which controlled the face and the star, and marking the Christmas tragedy upon the Columbian plains, had been taken back to the land from this. Man.
Okay.
That was a pretty good one.
All right.
It kind of petered out, but it was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
What'd you guys think? Did you like it?
Let me know.
Penny a Word explains the 10-page scene descriptions. Yes, it does. If you read Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens was a wordy motherfucker, and there's a reason why.
Yes.
So yeah. No sticker for you. Hi, Dr. Lisa.
Hey.
How are you?
Anybody else have their pizza, or is it just me?
Satanic Pizza Friday. What kind of bourbon was that before? Did we already answer that? It's Maker's Mark.
Yep. I don't know how I'm supposed to follow you reading. I probably should have started first.
Why? I never read that before. That was just there.
Yeah, but you're a good reader.
Oh, thanks. I like a good read.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to only pick out the 4-page ones for you?
Which one are those?
Well, you pick one, and then I'll tell you if it's like crazy long or something.
Guys, I get tired.
See, I could do that forever. I didn't even have to write that. I just read it.
Okay. Bert Pringle and the Bell Sninkle.
And the Bell Snickle?
The
That's
Bell
a short
Snickle.
one. That's a good one.
Okay.
40
Bert
to 46. It's 6
Pringle.
pages long. Bert Pringle and the Bell Snickle. We've talked about Bell Snickle before.
and the Bell Snickle.
He's like a Krampus buddy. Okay. And that is like the second one. So we're on page. I will get you to your page. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Now Leslie's going to read us Bert Pringle and the Bell Snickle.
And I'm going to learn a lot of new words today.
We're all learning together today. Dr. Lisa's reading she's listening while wrapping Christmas presents. What a fun thing!
How cute. How cute.
I'm glad we could be part of your Christmas present wrapping.
All right. So Bert Pringle and the Bell Snickle.
Who wrote it?
Bill Bramble.
Tell us a little bit about Bill Bramble.
Okay.
So does it have a thing?
European traditions had various punitive companions to Santa Claus, most of which did not seem to travel to the United States before or during the Victorian era. One exception was Belsnickel, who remained
It's like
part
Krampus.
of celebrations by the Pennsylvania Dutch
Oh.
from Germany's Rhineland.
Mm.
In appearance, Belsnickel is something like a rustic Santa, but sometimes incorporating traits more closely related to Krampus. Descriptions of the tradition are not uncommon in English, but stories featuring him are. Bill Bramble, which is in quotations.
Maybe that's a pen name.
It's probably a female then.
I should get Krampus to listen with us. Keep going.
Okay. Bill Bramble wrote poetry and short fiction for the Syracuse, New York newspapers, the Star and the Republican in the mid-1850s, occasionally reprinted by other papers. The following piece originally appeared in the Syracuse Republican on November 11th, 1853. Crampy!
There's a Krampus. I got this one. This one appeared in my home after I came back from my trip and just mysteriously appeared. And now sometimes when my kids wake up, the elves are doing things and Krampus has done something very naughty.
You know what I've never understood about the elves?
What?
The elf on the shelves. So a lot of times parents show them doing like silly things or like bad things, like sometimes, but wouldn't you want them to be doing like good stuff? Like they like cleaned a dish. And they're like, look, this is what you're supposed to do, child.
They leave every night to go report back to Santa.
Yeah.
And when you wake up, they're in a different spot.
Yeah.
So
I get that. But they should be like cleaning the toilet. Being like,
ours do all kinds of
this is what
things.
Santa would like you to do.
Ours never do bad things. They're usually doing fun things, like they're painting a picture or reading a story,
So
or
that's good.
they roast marshmallows by the fire, and like they leave presents for the kids sometimes. Or they don't like shit Hershey Kisses or anything. I'm
Yeah, because
disappointed.
there are some that are like really bad. That are
There
like
are.
they like make huge messes. There's like pasta all over the floor.
Dobby is free. Well, Krampus sometimes. Krampus left my kids coal the other day, so
Oh boy,
it was chocolate coal. It's fine. He also leaves them notes in broken English, which is really fun. So it says like, "I left you coal. Just kidding. It's chocolate." This is what it's like to live in my house.
Yeah.
Anyway, take it away, Leslie.
As the holidays are coming on and election is fairly over, the following anecdote may not be uninteresting to many of the readers of the Syracuse Republican. But
Okay.
before I go any further, let me explain to those who are unacquainted with the word the meaning of Belsnigel. As to its origin or derivation, I have little to say. I know not whether it be Hog Latin or lop-eared Dutch, perhaps a mixture of both.
Hog Latin? You mean like pig Latin?
Nope, lop-eared Dutch.
Okay, that's one I've never heard.
But this I do know, that it is used in the Pennsylvanian German dialect to designate a very singular sort of being, a great terror to bad children, and consequently a terror to all. He is a kind of Dutch Santa Claus, but with the difference. Santa Claus is said to ride in a beautiful cutter drawn by reindeers, while Belsnickel crams his pants in his boot taps and journeys on foot. Crams them.
I'm just going to tuck my pants into my boots and trek on through.
I get it. I do that every morning with my Uggs.
I mean, if it's snowy out too, you got to tuck those pants in.
I get it.
Yeah. You only get a few.
I feel like I connect to Belsnickel.
Okay.
Santa Claus is said to make his entry by the chimney flue and chooses the hour of midnight when everyone is soundly asleep for his visits, while Belsnickel comes boldly in at the door and is never later than 9.
Belsnickel's like, I got shit to do.
Yeah.
Let's get this show on the road.
I got a party to go to tonight.
Do not care if you see me.
Santa Claus distributes his gifts according. I want to say accordingly.
Accordingly?
No, but it's not. It's just according.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to say.
Okay. Like according to?
Yeah.
Oh, Mary Lloyd is so drunk.
So Santa Claus distributes his gifts according to age and merit, placing them in stockings which are hung up for that purpose. To the good, his gifts are appropriate, but sometimes the significant apparition of a rawhide peering from their pendant hosiery will strike terror into the hearts of little disobedience. But Belsnickel seldom brings gifts, but never fails to find a pretext for rigorously dusting the jackets of every young one he can lay his hands on. Just dust their jackets.
It's a very Amish situation we're in right now.
But they also have the right to defend themselves against his merciless castigations in any manner they may deem expedient. As the children of neighboring families generally congregate together on such occasions, it not unfrequently happens that Belsnickel's visit is attended with some rare and exciting sport. For sometimes one or two of the party will get their Dutch up.
Whoa. Get their Dutch up?
Yep.
We're going to use that. I can't wait to hear what that means.
And a regular rough and tumble will ensue frequently to the entire discomfiture of poor Belsnickel.
So to get your Dutch up is to like fight?
Yeah. And I guess it discomfiture of poor Belsnickel. This is hard to read. How do you do this? Often obliging him to make his exit rather hastily, and sometimes minus a horn or a portion of his ghostly attire. It is circumstance something similar to this of which I am about to speak, and of which I was an eyewitness. So this is we're just about to start the story.
Yeah. That's just a preamble about Belsnickel.
Yeah.
And his
Because mind you,
boots.
this was written in the Syracuse Republican paper.
All right.
All right. In the little village of Wadsworth in Medina County, Ohio, there resided an honest, good-hearted Pennsylvania Dutchman by the name of Peters, Daniel Peters.
Daniel Peters.
He was a tanner by trade, but also owned and worked a large farm.
Danny Tanner.
Danny Tanner. Peters had in his employ an apprentice whose parents, while living, had resided at Akron, a large and flourishing village some 12 or 15 miles from Wadsworth in the country seat of Summit County.
Do you mean Akron?
I don't know.
It's in Ohio.
What did I say?
Akron.
Oh.
Akron.
Akron, Ohio. Akron, Ohio. That's right.
Do you want me to use my horrible Midwestern accent from last week?
Okay. Akron, Ohio.
Akron, Ohio.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they died and he was thrown upon the world an orphan.
And dead. Okay,
so that was The Apprentice.
It's the Disney version where the parents die immediately. Perfect.
Yeah. But he was no drone. He had been taught to labor, and he would not sit despondently down now.
Mm-mm.
The world was before him, and he felt certain that where there was a will, there was a way. So he gathered together all he owned in the world, which was but a small bundle at best, and praying heaven to direct his steps, he set out. He knew not whither.
He knew not whither he would go.
But by good luck or a kind intervention of Providence, whichever you choose to call it, he had not proceeded far when he was overtaken by this Peters, who it seems had been to Akron with a load of grain and was returning home. He invited the boy to ride, and as they journeyed along, the young man informed Peters of his circumstances and told him that his name was Bert Pringle. Peters agreed to take him home, and if he wished, he would learn him the tanning trade. So Bert became his apprentice.
Bert Pringle, private eye.
Yes, I know. The village of Wadsworth, where Peters resided, was settled, if you guys didn't know, again, for the 12th time.
Let's talk about Wadsworth and Peters. Good.
Was settled almost entirely by Pennsylvania Dutchmen, who, though they are an honest and kind-hearted people, are dreadfully ignorant and superstitious. Their children were frightened into obedience by stories of spooks, ghosts, and goblins, or threats that the next Belsnickel that came should carry them off. Even the Werner?
Like Werner Herzog?
Even the venerable Peters himself was tainted with this disease and would tell of many a horrid night when things strange and unaccountable had happened, and no consideration whatever could induce him to forego the observance of signs.
Ooh.
But Bert was a philosopher.
I thought he was a tanner or something. What was he?
No, Bert is the orphan. Oh, yeah. He's the orphaned private eye.
Ah, yes.
There was no superstition about him. He was a regular harum scarum, devil may care sort of boy.
Harum scarum, devil may care. It means he was like, whatever.
Yeah. And for the matter of fear, he would as soon sleep in the graveyard as in his bed. It sounds like my husband. Christmas,
kind of, yeah.
Christmas was drawing near. Christmas was drawing near, and Bert was often reminded by the neighbor boys in the settlement that when a newcomer appeared among them, he was sure to get broken in.
A newcomer, let's break him in.
Boys, go break in the new guest.
Neighbor boys.
Thank God, it's like a brothel.
It is.
Okay.
Krampus loves this story. Look at him.
And consequently, he might expect that Belsnickel would give him a regular walloping on that occasion. But Bert kept his own counsel and only occasionally muttered to himself, "Just let Belsnickel wallop if he wants to, and see who will get broken in, that's all. These boys here are regular thick heads, they believe, and try to make me believe that this Belsnickel is a ghost. Ghost? Humph! Just let him lay his fingers on me and see how quick I'll take his ghostliness out of him. They can't fool me. I know all about the great pair of horns and that whopping big cowhide that they hide upstairs in the pile of hair. And I didn't.
Whoa!
I
The
hear-
pile of hair.
Yeah. And didn't I hear Jake Berkman last night telling Peters that it was all right that Phoebe Stouffer had agreed to make him a dough face and that he had some red ink at home that he could make himself look as if his throat was cut? And didn't I pry a clapboard off of the old mill last Sunday and catch him practicing with Stouffer's big chain tied to his leg? Now Jake is a darned clever fellow and I like him
Why are they
first
doing
rate.
this?
But if he goes to playing up ghosts and tries to
Oh, it'd be
maul me
ghosts,
with
okay.
a big gad, he's hung up in the mill. And I'm thinking he'll wish he was a ghost before he gets through with me. Ghost. I wonder if
See,
ghosts
you
can
picked-
swim.
How good you're
done.
reading. You picked the right one.
I guess so.
Yeah. The sorting hat knows.
Yes. It always knows.
It always knows.
The day before Christmas at last arrived, and Peters loaded his wagon with grain and leaving Bert to take care of the children and everything else in general, went with his wife to Akron to make their usual Christmas purchases. Just like, thank God we have this boy. He can stay here with everybody else. Nearly,
You have to have a boy.
you do,
We
always.
discussed this.
Nearly all day, Bert was busily occupied in the tan yard.
Just
I like
tan
that.
and shit.
Yeah. There was an old vat in the middle of the yard that had long before been condemned and filled up with tan. This tan Bert had removed and had pumped the vat full of water, after accomplishing which he spread some hide over to top off it and slightly covered the hole with tan. He then distributed the remainder of the tan which he had taken from the vat evenly about the yard, causing it to present the same appearance as it did before he had touched it. There, he said, as he gave it the finishing touch. Now let him wallop and see who will get broken in.
Oh boy. This is a dirty, dirty story.
Just at dusk,
Okay.
Peters came home, and Bert was called to put out the team.
Put out the team.
Put out the team.
Time for breaking in.
Yeah. Which duty he performed. Sorry, I can't get through that word without giggling. Which duty he performed, and then got out of the old lapstone and hammer, and while supper was cooking, he and Peters cracked nuts and talked over the adventures of the day and speculated upon the probability of a visit from Belsnickel. So they were breaking them in and cracking nuts.
Oh God. Just for Belsnickel.
Now, what sort of looking critter is he in anyhow? Asked Bert. Well, Bertie, I don't know as I could tell you exactly, but I suppose he'll have gray horns and perhaps he'll be covered with hair like an ox, and they'll generally go about with chains tied to their feet and their throats cut.
The throat's cut. This is terrible.
Can they swim? Asked Bert with a singular expression of countenance.
He's like, I'm going to catch them in a lie. Ghosts can't swim.
Swim? Echoed old Peters in astonishment. Why no? Spooks don't swim.
Obviously.
Don't they?
What?
Well, I think they'd better learn then, said Bert.
Okay, Bert.
Why? What do you mean, Bert?
Oh.
Nothing. Only I was thinking the Belsnickel might take it into his head to cross the pond, and you know the ice, very thin. Oh. He couldn't break through if it was ever so thin. Spooks ain't like other folks. Glad to hear it said Bert. But
As I always say.
let's drop the subject and go to supper.
Okay.
After supper,
They had a quick
Yeah.
supper.
the neighbor boys began to gather in, and among them came George Berkman, a brother of Jake's. Which
George
I think
Wilson,
he
the
liked.
last time it's George Berkman. Now maybe it's the same George.
Which I think he liked Jake. I
Okay.
don't know.
All right.
Okay. Bert's quick eye soon informed him that Jake was not with them and therefore might soon be expected in the capacity of Belsnickel. Ooh. But to be certain, he asked George where Jake was and why he did not come over with the rest of them. He said he did not feel well enough to get out tonight, was the reply. He feels just well enough to get in then, thought Bert.
Oh, no.
But I say, Bert, continued George, if the bell snickle comes, are you going to show fight or take your thrashing quietly? Neither, said Bert. How are you going to get around it? Asked George, somewhat puzzled. I shall run, said Bert. Run, echoed George. Why, Bert, that's cowardly. Besides, it won't do you any good, for he will certainly chase you, and he's a fast son of a bitch.
Yeah, and he's going to break you in.
Do you think so? How far do you suppose he'll chase me?
Pretty far.
He would chase you to Texas and back.
That's far.
But what he would catch you?
Would he catch you?
Yeah.
Would he?
I don't know.
Okay, let's find out.
Well, now, I'll bet he gives up the race before we get halfway across the tan yard, said Bert. My knife against yours that he won't, said George. Done,
Oh, shit.
said Bert. The stakes were put in Peter's hands, who evidently began to smell of a mice, for he nudged Bert in the ribs and whispered with a wink, Ah, Bertie, you rogue, what you been up to?
Bertie, you rogue.
Up to, echoed Bertie. Why, just what your bellsnickle will soon be into.
Oh,
Man, this
God.
is so sexual.
I know.
Just then, the rattle of chain was heard on the porch, and a general stampede was made by the timid portion of assembly. Some dodged under the table and some under the beds. Others crawled into the corners, each one endeavoring to get behind his neighbor. Bert sat alone, unnerved. The apparition advanced towards him and raised his huge baton to strike, but Bert slipped out of its way and sprang out the door, calling on George to follow if he wished to see who won. On went Bert, and the bellsnickle followed close in his wake, and George, old Peters, and all the rest came tearing along in the rear. But now Bert was reached the tan yard, and the bellsnickle, Hear Bert laugh. That wasn't in the thing.
That's because they
Yep.
tore his rear. Bad.
The bellsnickle was tumbled into the old vat. Oh, Jake, who's broken now? Asked Bert tauntedly. Jake has forgiven, but never can forget Bert.
Who's broken now?
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank
Bellsnickle.
Oh, bellsnickle. That was a good one.
Breaking shit
Ooh.
in.
I felt good
Tearing
for that.
rears. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. That was intense. Do you guys?
Yeah.
So there's like 2 people here. 4. Okay.
We have 4. That was more than
Yeah,
before.
yeah, more than before. We can keep going if you want. We can talk about other Christmas stuff. How are you guys? Yes, the Mari Lloyd is here.
Mm-hmm.
There she is. We
In
couldn't.
all her glory.
Yes, we couldn't have Christmas without Mari Lloyd.
Yeah.
She was made just for this podcast.
Definitely not.
Mhm.
What? Definitely not.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Krampus is having fun. He really liked that story. He felt really rowdy about it.
So I guess Jake was bellsnickle? Wild.
I guess, yeah. What the fuck, man?
I know.
In-
Silly.
Folklore, like Belsnickel, is Krampus-like, but he's more of a person than because Krampus looks like Krampus. He's pretty animal-y looking.
This is a little pudger.
He did a little round ball, Krampus. I love him so much. Look at his little crossed eyes and his little pointy tongue. I love him.
Do you think this is one of those things, though, that, like, because Krampus is so bad that, like, we shouldn't make him cute? Like, that ruins it? Like, we're supposed to be scared of him.
Yeah, we're supposed to be scared of him for sure.
It's like Voldemort when, like, J.K. Rowling's like, don't call him Voldy, because that makes him, like, not as evil.
I mean, for sure, but I like him, so I'm going to keep him. Look at him. Look at his little feet.
Yeah. He is so cute.
I know, look at him. He's excited to be here for stories. What do we have? Hi. Oh, Krampus. Yeah, he's a cute little Krampus. I mean, I don't think I would let Scary Krampus live here, so
Yeah.
just this one.
Chris, did you make it through all of the stories, Mr. Yappy Pie?
They make cute Cthulhu's.
They do.
so-
Yeah, which I have. So I guess.
Oh.
Shame on me.
Oh, so I guess we can't talk over here.
But I don't know. Is Cthulhu like I just feel like he's just a being who just is, man. I mean, I guess that's his purpose too.
I mean, Krampus
Somebody's
has a
gotta
job.
love him.
I know. It's just his job. He gets the naughty children.
Everyone has a mother.
Yeah. He gets the naughty children. If those children weren't naughty, then Krampus wouldn't be getting them. So maybe they should behave.
Yeah.
And there's levels to Krampus. If you're kind of bad, he'll just threaten you with a stick, or instead of candy in your shoes, he'll leave a stick.
Oh man.
So you know, like, it could be coming. But if you're like a little bit more bad, then he will hit you with the stick. If you're even more bad than that, he will hit you in a stick and put you in the basket on his back and take you to like Spain. If you're really, really bad, he will put you in the basket and drag you to hell.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I want to be bad enough to just go to Spain.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That sounds like a good
You
time.
do have to get hit with a branch and put in a basket, though.
I mean, that's like a Tuesday for me.
Hit me with the branches. Take me to Spain.
Mm-hmm.
There are tiers to how bad Krampus is to you, depending on how badly you have behaved.
I don't know.
Yeah, so like he can't be all bad. That's his job. Santa Claus had the ham babies. Krampus has his shit. I feel like every year I want to tell the story of St. Nicholas and the ham babies. That's one of my favorites.
I think that's a good one.
When we went to, so when I was in, where was this? When I was in, I can't remember right now. Where was I? I can't remember.
Austria?
Yeah, but I can't remember the town right now. The Sound of Music town.
Oh. Hold on.
My brain hurts. Anybody? It begins with an S, I think. I can't. My brain is just not latching on to facts right now. I know it. I just can't remember it for no reason. Siri.
Oh, don't talk.
Oh.
What is the Sound of Music town?
That's one way to ask it.
Salzburg,
yes. So when I was in Salzburg, we went to a Christmas museum. Everything was in German. Nothing was in English, but I fucking loved it.
How rude is that?
I loved it.
Just kidding.
It was all like Christmas memorabilia. And I'm sorry, Dr. Lisa, do you listen to Sinisterhood? One of their recent episodes featured a debate about whether Santa is a cryptid or not. I do not, but I have heard that debate before, and he is not, in my opinion. But Santa comes from a person. Usually people are not cryptids. They're usually like part, because cryptozoology has an animal element. And
but I feel like what he turned into. Because then unless you're like religious.
But Santa comes from religious iconography. So I mean, we did a whole episode on Santa and where Santa comes from, and none of it isn't a person.
Right.
So to me, I would say no, Santa is absolutely not a cryptid. You would have to really buy into the portion of Santa's story that veers off and says he's an elf. And then you have a debate. If you believe the Rankin Bass side of Santa lore, where Santa is actually, well, no, I guess Rankin Bass believed that Santa was a human baby raised by elves. So still no.
Could he become a cryptid?
No.
Why?
Unless he gains
he can identify as a cryptid.
You're going to make people hate me because I'm saying someone can't identify the way they want. Thanks,
Sorry.
Leslie. It's bad for you too, just so you know. If we're going to go on like strict definition, unless Santa has an incident wherein his DNA mingles with another species and then he is part something else, he cannot technically be a cryptid. You can't just like choose to be a cryptid.
Well, what
That's like saying, I choose to be a camel.
But if he started off as human and was mortal and then somehow became immortal, then something that make him...
No, because vampires are not cryptids. They're just immortal people.
Oh.
From what I have gleaned from the cryptozoology stuff we have done, which is not a lot, but was enough. Cryptids have like a lot of a mythological animal aspect to them, and I guess mythological, you could say Santa has mythological roots in a lot of ways, but I still would say no. What do you say, Lisa? Do you think Herbie the elf is revered by dental students? He should be if he isn't. He really fought for that dentistry thing.
Really did.
I mean, like way more than anybody else ever would. Do you guys know why the doll is on the island of misfit toys? Because she's depressed. Yeah, the doll has depression issues. That's why she's a misfit toy.
Yep.
Upsetting, isn't it?
Yeah. Mental health.
It's a bitch. Real bummer. I don't know. Do you think Santa's a cryptid?
What if he has reindeer feet? That's
Then
why
he's
he
a
always
cryptid.
wears boots.
Then there you go. Then he could be a cryptid. Krampus is a cryptid. I would give him that because Krampus is like a big hairy monster beast.
Yeah.
And he has like unidentifiable mythos. Like we don't know where Krampus came from. We don't know why he looks like that. He just is a demon.
What if?
Well, I can tell you why he looks like that and where it comes from, but still.
I was gonna say, what if they were actually siblings, and like
that's a better story.
And like Santa was just like the more human-y looking one, so he was allowed to like go out and do stuff and like get away with being like a human.
So it's like a Jersey Devil type thing?
Yeah.
Trademark.
Yeah. And then he was just like, and then the mom was just like, Nick, take your brother out once in a while.
Or she was like, we don't let Krampus out of the attic.
Maybe.
That's a better story. It's a much better story, but it is not the actual story. I do not think Santa is a cryptid, but I never heard that argument before. What was their argument? Did they think he was a cryptid? Did they have reasons? Was it mythology based? I'm just curious.
Or were they like, it's a thing?
It says in The Night Before Christmas, a ripe, jolly old elf, and then therefore there is a debate about whether Santa is in fact an elf. But according to Rankin Bass lore, Santa is a human baby raised by elves. And you all know Rankin Bass is part of our Santa religion. So, sorry, I forget I was driving. Got it. That's fine.
We forgive you.
Yeah. There's a lot of Christmas cryptids. Like almost every other Christmas thing could be considered a cryptid. We briefly talked about Grilla and the Yule Lads. They have myth base. We talked about Krampus. Obviously, he has a lot of myth base and he has a lot of different like spooky, monstery features. Belsnickel can be considered a cryptid because of that.
Or he's just Jake.
Marloyd is horse skull as a, if it was ever a living thing, which it really isn't, but still. Marloyd. But like most other of the Christmas myths we've talked about, yeah, you could make the argument that they definitely are, but because Santa is so based in St. Nicholas, I'm going to have to say no.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's our final word
on that story. Yes. We've done it.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to talk about while we're here? No.
Anybody listen to the latest episode?
Yeah, talk about Tommy Linzells. Why not? We have the most people here that we've had.
I know.
And we just, do you need one other story? What do we do? We each read one.
Ooh.
Krampus is getting tired. I have to burp him later. Dippy went under the couch.
He's gone.
He was in and out. He was up on the couch a few times.
Yeah.
He tried to jump up. He missed.
It happens. He's a small dog.
He's so small. He did not get any bigger. He's like almost 5 pounds, and that's all we're getting. He started talking about the Belsnickel, and I immediately wanted to connect it back to Nelson Rhymeyer in Hex Hollow. Oh. I'm a few episodes behind from the move. Okay, Ashley, that's all right. Then you have plenty. You can catch up. We have, we usually give people who are in attendance of our lives a sneak peek into our next episode. So every year we do like a Christmas folklore mythology type episode. We did elves first, which was so fun. I love our episode on elves.
I know. I think that's one of my faves.
Me too. I think we should share them like bump them up so people could, if they want Christmas listening. And then last year we did Santa, which is why I can effectively argue that Santa's not a cryptid because I know a lot about him. And this year we are doing Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yay!
Who is based on a real person, something I did not know. And the real person that Ebenezer Scrooge is based on is probably the most ridiculous human of all time. Of all time. Yeah. So,
Okay.
and I'll probably try and touch on like a couple other Christmas Carol characters and see if I can find you some possible bases for them.
I don't think I want to know who Tiny Tim was based on. That'll be too sad.
No, we'll just talk about diseases that would make you limp then.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what a lot of people speculate Tiny Tims you have been suffering with. So that's a good part to put in there. Yeah.
Okay.
You can do one of the ghosts or something.
Cool.
Let's see.
All right.
Yeah. Because Christmas Present was based on Father Christmas.
Yeah.
Which John talked about at our last live briefly.
Yes.
Because Father Christmas is separate than like Santa and St. Nicholas and all the other
that's when
iterations.
we did our like little TikTok, right?
Yes, that was what John was dressed as when we did last year's Merry Lit, which we should just share again.
Yeah.
We will. That was really fun.
Yeah, that was
We were like
fun.
a little drunk and we were wandering around outside my house. I had moved in, not even moved in my stuff yet. My house was empty.
Oh,
That was when your husband was like, there's a dead bird in your basement.
Yeah. And that's why this is a great place to live.
I really put together that my neighbor's cat put it there.
Mm.
Probably got in when the doors were open or something and left it there for us because he since has left a couple in our driveway.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So it's fine.
Cool.
Yay, Scrooge. Yeah, I'm excited. I performed, little known fact, or if you know me, well known fact, I performed in the Christmas Carol for 13 years at Elaine's. So I've done this show like actual thousands of times probably because we did 3 shows a day a lot of times.
Yeah.
At Elaine's. So I know
Jesus.
Christmas. Yeah, I know. It was a lot. So I know Christmas Carol really well. I wrote one of the versions that we did too. So this is a story that kind of like lives inside me. So it's going to be really fun to talk about. I'm really excited to write a monologue to go with it because I have long wanted to be able to play Scrooge because I did it for so long and I feel like I deserved it.
Yeah.
But you know, there are no Lady Scrooges. Actually, there are. There are a couple authors that wrote Lady Scrooges, but
yeah,
none of them are contacting me to do it. So write your congressman.
Like Devil Wears Prada. It's kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
She's a Lady Scrooge.
She is a Lady Scrooge. Yeah, but anyway, I'm excited to get back into that world and to write about Scrooge and to write about Christmas Carol and to let you know how A Christmas Carol saved Christmas, because it did. Before A Christmas Carol was published, Christmas was a dying holiday. Mm-hmm. It was nothing. And it was just a religious observance. It wasn't as like festive and great.
Yeah.
And if Charles Dickens hadn't written it, we wouldn't have what we do today. So
very true.
I have lots of fun things to talk about in our Scrooge episode. So get excited.
Yay.
Yeah, I think that's
it.
Leslie, do you have anything to add before we end?
Well, Holly, you know what? So earlier today, I was on the Googles. I was looking for some stuff, and I came across a site. It was shoresoapscapemay.com, and
now every time I ask her, it's a commercial.
They had some really great stuff.
Did they?
Yeah, they had soap, all natural. It was made locally in our area too.
Who makes that soap?
2 women actually.
What are their names?
Yeah, Corinne and Leslie. Actually,
Leslie, yeah,
very interesting.
One of their names. Yeah, does she make candles?
Yeah, yes, she does. She makes a lot of candles, soy-based, essential oils. It's all really good. And the best part is every single product.
Not every one.
Every one.
Oh my God.
Is made with a healthy dose of validation. Because it's a hill worth dying on.
It is a hill worth dying on. Mm-hmm.
So
tell us more. Lisa, you know all of it.
So Lisa, if you go to
Lisa, you've been there with us. Yeah, if you come and visit us, you can go to Shore Soaps.
Yeah.
Leslie will take you
I will take you to
buy
all of
things.
them.
At
I will open that door so fast.
Yes, you will. Maybe you'll go to the Stone Harbor one.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, well, we're closed in Stone Harbor right now. We are open every day in Cape May, 10 to 5. You can go in, make a candle, do a little candle bar action.
You should just
Way
get
fun.
our Trees Equal Murder candle because that
We
one
don't have
is
any
great.
more. You had to come to a live show. That was a very special gift.
Yeah, I guess you really wish you had it. It smells like Christmas trees and murder.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It does. Mm-hmm. It's got like faint murder notes.
Yeah.
But like the poisony women murders.
What was it? It was notes
Suspicion.
of a balsam fir, eucalyptus, and suspicion. Yeah, something like that.
That's right. Suspicion.
Wild.
Yep, I love mine. And what am I doing? It's done. I always get sad when your candles are done.
I can always refill them.
And
you can bring your vessels in too and refill and get the Trees Equal Murder scent.
Yeah, bring your Trees Equal Murder candle.
Yeah.
If you came to one of our live shows this fall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Once upon a time, I drank several martinis and went to a little crazy at short snobs.
This is so true.
You know what? I bet you did not live to regret that, though.
Mm-mm.
It's all good. Live show
I
was
know.
so far for the tip of the state.
I
I know. We are on the broken off piece of New Jersey's tail. We have talked about trying to take our show on the road to places that are closer to more of our fiends, but we just really
Or like
kinda,
a more designated, like a similar city.
I really
or
think
something.
it needs to be like Philly first, probably because we have a lot of like Central North Jersey people. We have Philly people. We have Pennsylvania people. We have, that's like a city too, so it'll be a little easier. So I'm hoping in 2023 maybe we can do a show there.
Yeah,
we'll see. We kind of would have to sell tickets ahead of time because sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you guys would have to want to come.
We're coming to a city near you.
Oh, city near you. Yes, possibly.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
I always have to look when my phone buzzes and we're on a live because sometimes it's someone being like, you are glitching, or you said something weird, or like your tits out. I don't know. Whatever.
Your tits out.
I mean, if you're here at the live, you get to see it. It's fine.
The first show was at Tyndall Road, right? In
Our first show ever?
Yeah.
Or the first show this fall?
Where
was the first show that was fall? Oh, okay. Yeah, we did Tyndall Road in Bordentown. They're a brewery. They're a small business. They're great. And Bordentown is where I grew up. And we could go back to Tyndall if Bordentown is like a common area for anybody. It seemed to be kind of a difficult destination for a lot of our people to get to, but we did have a lot of people there. It was nice.
Mm-hmm. It was hard for sound, but we can figure that out.
It was hard for sound, but also that was our first show ever, and we did not close the venue down. We left the venue open for walk-ins and for people who were just drinking and stuff and hanging out. And that may have not, I don't know if that worked in our favor or not. I think at Cape May Brewing Company last year it did, because this year when we didn't have that, it was like a little less fun.
Mm-hmm. We were also competing with the World Series and Sunday football. Yes, and it was a local game that was on that day. Like the Eagles were playing. So there wasn't anybody even outside that day. So that was rough. Yeah. But we had a good crowd.
Yeah, so. We had people. We had fun. Mm-hmm. We had a fine time. But I do think we need Cape May can be a hard location for people who don't live in Cape May because we're so far removed from the rest of the state.
It's not like cheap to stay.
It's not. It's definitely not. And we love you guys and we would put as many of you up as possible, but that's not many. Yeah. So
we'll give you a tent.
Yeah, we can give you a sleeping bag. Yeah. But we'll try. I would love to. I've been trying to do this for a couple of years, but we really didn't have the assets. I'd like to do a Salem show this next October. We would have to kind of book that this summer and really build it up. But Salem's my favorite town.
Yeah.
It's a town Leslie really loves too. And maybe we could kind of make like a themed trip out of it because we talked about doing a trip where it was like, we have activities, you can meet us there or you can't, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then it would culminate in like a live show.
Yeah.
I think that'd be super fun.
Yeah, I think so too.
It'd be like a big sleepover in the best place ever. And we would just do Halloween
Mhm.
things and eat at good restaurants.
Yeah. And we also want to do a trip to Ireland.
I desperately want to go to Ireland so badly, and I will do the creepy Jameson guy voice
Yeah.
the whole time. I'm sorry.
I know. I want to get like a travel agent
I'm
and
in
like,
the corner of the pub.
oh my God, where's Ollie?
I'm over here.
Oh my God.
Bring me a boy. That's what it was. That was our first episode where we had a boy.
I know. It's wonderful.
Was
The memories.
the memories of that boy. They did not eat that boy.
No.
So it was fine.
He was too important.
It was too important.
Well,
Yeah, those are all the things we want to do. I mean, there are definitely more, but like things we've talked about possibly being goals, not possibly, but being goals for the next year. I think that's a themed trip is a good goal to have. We go
mhm.
somewhere where maybe we can all meet up and have a fabulous weekend.
Mhm.
I'd like to have a show somewhere else.
Yep.
Maybe a couple other where else's if we can work it out.
Mhm.
I'd like to travel more. Just for our own fun.
Yes. For our health and well-being.
Yes, for our health and well-being. We must see the world.
Mhm. Yep.
So yeah. Anyway, so that was our live for Christmas this year. Thank you to all 4 of you who came.
Yes.
God bless us, everyone.
And have a merry holiday.
Yes, have a lovely Satanic Pizza Friday.
I sure did.
Cheers! Toast!
Oh.
Oh no! Cheers empty.
Toast.
Toast to
Bert.
yeah, and Belsnickel
Yeah.
and
Jake.
Fleming.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other names for my story. It was very long.
Wilson.
George Wilson. Who was
Yeah.
the evil star guy? I don't know if we like him. My best friend is getting married next October, so I wouldn't be able to make that one. I'm sorry, Ashley. Where if they're not getting married in Salem, then
Maybe you can convince them to move locations.
get married in Salem.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have done that.
Yeah.
I love Salem so much. But you know.
You can get like a vow renewal.
Next year's 15 years for me and Will.
There you go.
So we could. Isn't that scary?
That is scary.
15 years.
Jesus.
I was just a tiny infant baby when I got married.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And I met John the year later.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Or no, I met him because I was old enough to drink. So I had already known him.
Really?
We weren't dating, but
Okay.
I knew him already.
I was gonna say, I don't think you were dating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I guess that's all for tonight.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, I have to end it.
Yeah, they can't end it.